All right, everybody, welcome back to the show, and hello to everybody watching on YouTube. You see that I am here with my guest today, Mr. Brent Paschal. He is the creator of Monster Mat that you heard me talk about the intro, folks. A absolutely fantastic product for anybody who wants a at-home simulator for golf courses that want to add a new alternative to their driving ranges. Brent, thank you so much for agreeing to come onto the show to talk about it.
Thank you for having me.
So you and I have had the chance to talk briefly prior to today. You absolutely floored me with your passion and your experience, as well as your knowledge, not only of just turf in general, but how all of that went into the Monster Mat. So before we get into that, how did you get started in the game of golf, and how did you come up with the idea of, hey, I want to make the best possible golf mat around?
Well, it was our experience when we got into the artificial turf industry. There was one artificial turf, and that was AstroTurf. And so we had to come up with something that was different. And in doing so, we came up with a similar product, shorter and just designed for football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as time went along, we continued to develop it, and it became the mainstay and the number one artificial turf in the world.
Wow.
And so, having had a motorcycle wreck, I went to my therapist and told her that I was really upset because I couldn't play football anymore because I'd had a head injury and just was really upset. And she said, well, Brent, be the best what do you like to do? And I said, well, I like to work. I like the artificial turf business. And she said, why don't you be the best you can be at that? And always try to achieve and be better than everybody else in the artificial turf industry. So I took it to heart.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, every product that we build is well thought out, well designed. Sometimes it's not right at first, but we continue to develop the products so that in the end, the athlete is rewarded with the best possible product.
That's fantastic. And it's funny how, well, not funny, but it's inspiring to hear how life events like that kind of point you in a direction. And based on, my limited experience with the work that you've done, sir, I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, this is a fantastic product that I quite literally have not seen anything that's of this quality before. Well done on that.
Well, thank you. And a lot of our customers have, such as Club Corporations of America, Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy, have asked us to be their exclusive distributor and to sell our product. We got into that, but we decided to sell direct to the public so that we could better serve the public, stand behind what we do, not charge an absorbent amount of money. And so it is a win-win situation for Safe Play, Monster Mat, Brent Paschal, and our team, and also the public, the people out there that are actually playing and using our product.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it because it's not the highest priced mat on the market. It's simply the best.
I would agree with that. And I actually used it earlier today, to be honest with you, on my lunch hour. I went downstairs and in my headquarters here and was able to hit a few balls at the net. And, I got to tell you, some of the things that I appreciate about it and absolutely floored me right from the start. One is the durability of it, insofar as many people listening to this know, you usually, when you go on artificial turf, you'll either get that residue on the bottom of your club or you'll see some of the fibers like fly off. This doesn't happen with the Monster Mat at all. how does that even work? And I guess what I'm asking is, what is so special? What can you tell me that's so special regarding the product when you notice things like that?
How many hours do we have?
So I know
Okay.
there's a lot that goes into
Let
it.
me just touch it. Let me just touch on a couple or 3 points.
Sure.
We start off with a different fiber than anybody else in the world called an LSR Z Pro fiber, which means low slide resistance, which means it does not grab your club face as you're impacting the surface, and your club face comes through the product at the same club drag speed as it would on Augusta or Pinehurst on the finest fairways in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we go with a fiber that is not solution dyed. It is solution dyed, but it's not dyed after the fact. A nylon product, for instance, that the majority of the people in our industry use because they don't know any better, mm-hmm. is a gray fiber that is dyed after the fact. So that's the green residue that's coming off on your club. Then we go with the proper density and the proper pile height, or the height of the fiber or the grass, mm-hmm. So that when the club impacts the surface, it comes through at the same club drag speed as it would on a natural fairway. So when you hit a fat shot, it feels like a fat shot. The ball reacts like a fat shot. You don't get the same feel as other mats that when you hit behind the ball, you skip into the ball, bounce into the ball, and your elbows and wrists suffer the consequences.
I know that very well, actually. Listeners to this know that I've dealt with some elbow pain recently, and this is right up my alley.
Well, I'm not that good a golfer, so I had to build something like that. I could play pretty fair, but I just had to build a product that I could hit off of.
Well, you could build a hell of a product, Brent. I mean, that's what you make up for your product building, for maybe what you don't have in the golf. But yeah, so the fibers themselves, I experienced exactly what you said. I've hit a few fat shots down there as well, and it definitely feels the same as if I was out on a fairway. The other elements of it are so intriguing too. What else did you have for me?
Well, there's several other elements, but if you ever look at the side of one of our mats, you'll notice a reinforcement between the fiber and the pad. Mm. Not only is that a protective barrier, but the whole pad, when you impact it, collapses at that point, giving you extra shock resistance. And then the neat part about what we do, the LSR Z Pro fiber and the polyethylene foam, closed cell cross-link polyethylene foam, means it will not absorb any moisture whatsoever, the fiber nor the pad. So when you're out there after inclement weather, you go out there, you hit golf balls, and you don't get the spray in your face. At minus 60 degrees below zero and 160 degrees Fahrenheit, it retains its same resiliency. So it feels the same as it would in your basement. And that is what totally is unique and different about the Monster Mat. It's just that every little intricate part of it was thought out, was tested. Another superior aspect of the Monster Mat, it'll outlast a nylon mat 3-1. And that isn't just my opinion. It's the opinion of testing laboratories. The Monster Mat will go 66,000 cycles on what's called the Tabor abrasion wheel, which measures any kind of textile or carpet. It's a cylinder that goes around and around with a certain weight on it that after a while it wears the product out. The typical nylon product will go 21,000 cycles.
And the cycle
Monster Mat is over 3 times longer lasting.
Okay, and apologies for jumping in, but the cycle time and what you just described, maybe for someone who's not as adept at that terminology, what does that mean in terms of what you experience with the mat?
Well, that anytime that you want to know how long a product will last, you run it through this test, which is, like I said, a cylinder that goes around and around and around in the same circle. And it has a certain amount of weight on it. And it has a wheel. And when it wears down to what we call the primary backing, it's wore out. Okay. The Safe Play Monster Mat outperforms any nylon mat on the market today by over 3 to 1. So it's, the aspects of it. And so in creating this monster that we did here, we could have charged $500 a piece for them and still sold them all day long.
Sure.
But we didn't, and we won't, because we started out not being able to afford a artificial turf for a football field, so we had to develop one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we passed it on through the years to the consumer, because we understand that everybody cannot pay the top dollar in the whole industry. And there's mats out there that are $500, $600, $1,000, and they're just not even close to the Monster Mat.
And folks, you can go out to the Safe Play Golf website at mcssl.com, and you've got exactly what you're talking about, Brent, listed here. The Monster Mats come in a few different sizes, and the most expensive size, and I'm using that in air quotes, people on YouTube see me doing that, it's under $350 for a 5-foot by 5-foot mat. That's a big mat for not a big price.
That's delivered. And it also, there are gimmicks, so many gimmicks out here that so many people fall for, and they usually do it at the PGA trade show in Orlando. And so you see different people peddling, and I say peddle because everybody's a distributor except us, because we're the only people that manufacture our own product and have our own manufacturing facility. But everybody has a different gimmick. And the first thing that someone will ask me, and someone did last night from Canada, can you stick a tee in it?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, it has a regular tee holder that releases. And they said, well, you can't just stick a tee anywhere in it. And I said, no. And if someone tries to sell you a mat that you can stick a tee in anywhere, run as fast as you can away from it. And he just started laughing. He said, well, why would you say that? I said, because experience. I said, the same people are not selling that product next year at the show because it fails. And the reason it fails is because, yes, you can stick a tee in it when it's brand new, but you walk on it for a month and let the fiber bend over and the tee won't stand up. That's true. Then you hit some fat shots with that tee sticking in it, and it drives that wooden tee down through the backing of the turf,
mm-hmm.
and actually begins to tear holes in the turf. but they don't tell you that. You see,
No.
there's other products that you stand on one surface and hit off of another surface. And really, it's bad for the golf. Uh, there's another product that has toothbrush, and I'm not going to name any names,
Sure,
but
sure.
toothbrush like fibers that stick up. It's great for exercise if you just want to stretch out. But when you got a ball sitting up on a toothbrush and you hit it fat and it goes straight up there, you don't know how fat you hit it. You don't know how long you hit it.
Right.
So there's just a lot of things that we don't agree with. There's a lot of things that we do different, but I
Mhm.
will guarantee you that they're right. And I'm going to say this now and when we close. We're the only company in the world and have been for 48 years. You try our mat, just buy our mat, try it for 11 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days, 1 day shy of a year. If you don't like the color of it, if you don't like the way it performed, or you don't think it's the best golf match or surface that you've ever hit off of, we'll refund your money 100%.
Wow.
You call around and get anybody in the world to give that same guarantee. And let me tell you this, we've not had a mat returned in 48 years. So what we're saying is what we'll put our money behind. We'll back up. And if you want something as close to the finest fairway you've ever hit off of, this is it. If you want something that you can improve your game on, this is it. There's nothing like it in the world. And this isn't a hope so, think so, maybe so. It's guaranteed. And you be the judge of it. You, the
Yeah.
consumer, be the judge of it.
You got me fired up, Brent. I like that. That's an unbelievable guarantee there.
Well, you're
It,
going to get also, you're going to get on an individual use, you're going to get a lifetime of wear on it. As long as you rotate the mat, it comes with 4 holes and 4 sides.
mhm.
I mean, 1 hole and 4 sides. And if you'll rotate it once a month, you won't wear it out in your lifetime.
I was wondering about that because and that is good to know. And I should also correct myself. The website is actually safeplaygolf.com. You want to go out. I actually had it on the bottom of the screen here for our YouTube players or viewers rather. That was something I was interested in is how long do I have to rotate? I mean, and you mentioned at least once a month and that should last the lifetime of the mat.
Yes, on driving ranges, uh, high volume driving ranges, based upon 50,000 rounds, 50,000 rounds. That's buckets of balls. Our mats are lasting 6, 8 years, and that's with people hitting up 24/7 on them.
That's
So
incredible.
get you one and go after it. Is all I can tell you.
Here's a
It,
picture of one I brought up on YouTube. So you do actually service driving ranges as well.
I'm sorry.
You offer these for driving ranges as well, as you just mentioned. Here's a picture.
Yes, we built the Trinity Forest, the home of the Byron Nelson. We built the so many clubs I can't even begin to name them. Thousands and thousands and thousands of clubs. We build them in continuous tee lines where you take and just you don't need concrete. You just cut out with a sod cutter, cut it out, put some chat down, roll it, and lay the monster mat over it, backfill it to the edges, and it's there forever. I mean, it's there forever. On our tee lines, on the average, we have people walk up and say, "Man, I've had your tee line for 19 years, and our customers just still love it. Had it 21 years, our customers still love it." find another product that'll perform like that, and that's the one you need to buy. I mean, if somebody will stand behind their product, but not only the longevity, but the initial and the long-term playability is what's equally important. And it can't be matched by any product on the market.
I have hit off of many different mats in my day here. And, obviously listeners, we test a lot of equipment. We live at the driving range, Brent, and I have to say, and I mean this sincerely, yours is the Monster mat is the best mat I've ever hit off of for all the reasons that you just mentioned. You know it right out of the gate. You walk on it, it's just something different. And when you hit off of it, regardless of the quality of your swing, it's going to feel as if you are out on the golf course. And that's all that any golfer wants. I'm looking out my window right now, Brent. It is still snowing. It's been snowing for, it feels like, a month. And I know that I can go down in my basement, hit off of a Monster mat, and still get that same experience. So kudos to you and your team.
Well, sometimes I'm so proud of it. I've developed a lot of products, the finest football fields in the world. They last over twice as long as their nearest competition. But I have a passion for providing the customer with the best product. And when you take one of these mats and you lay it out in front of a driving range and you have all the pros come out and hit it, they'll hit 3 or 4 balls and they'll turn around with a smile on their face and they'll say, I don't know where that came from, but that's what we want right there. And it's not even a vote.
Yeah.
It's just a unanimous decision. So I appreciate you letting me come on and
sure
explain it, because to have something and have it in your warehouse just doesn't give you the satisfaction of having it out there. But we have thousands of them, and we'd be happy to give anybody in the world installation list, people to call, people that have our product. A gentleman called me the other day, and let me just share one quick little story.
Please.
A guy came, was about half intoxicated at the show, and he heard me talk and say everything that I've said so far. And he said, he bought 2 mats.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, people will stand in line to hit off of this mat with all your other mats available. And he said, I was a little intoxicated. He came back the next year. He said, I was a little intoxicated when I talked to you at the show last year. He said, but I bought 2 mats. And he said, and I forgot about what you said. And he said, I looked out there. I was running the cash register. He said, I looked out there and there were 2 people sitting behind each mat on the bench with a full bucket of balls. And he said, I wondered what they were doing. I wondered what the problem was. He said, I walked out and they said, is there a problem? And they said, no, there's no problem. He said, well, all those mats are open. You can hit off of those. They said, no, we don't want to hit off those. We want to hit off of these. He said, they're just totally 100% different. He said, and that guy was sober this time. He ate more mats. And so that's the kind of stories we live with going forward and looking back. And it really is a warm feeling to know that you've done something that is really great for the golfer. Because, these guys are trying to improve their game. And when you're trying to improve your game, the last thing you want to do is be worried about if you hit it fat, it's going to hurt you.
Right.
And if you hit it too skinny, you're going to develop bad habits and start cutting the ball. Mm-hmm. So just go ahead and hit it like you would on a natural fairway. And you'll enjoy the Monster Mat. Guaranteed.
Well, listeners, that's Mr. Brent Paschal. He is the creator of the Monster Mat. We've talked a lot about, and Brent, believe me, I've been to the PGA show, and I know that there is some intoxication that goes on at the PGA show. But Brent, before we let you go, I got to give you the opportunity one more time to remind our listeners of that guarantee, because it is so special.
The guarantee is, don't take my word for a thing I've said. Give it a chance. And you have 11 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days to prove me wrong. And all you have to do, I'm the president and owner of the company, have been all this time, pick up the phone and call me and just say, Brent, it didn't work out like you said. Something you said was not right and it was a lie. I'll refund your money 100%. Never had to do it in 48 years. Would love for you to be the first.
Well, there you go, listeners. That is quite the guarantee, and take it from me as well that this is a fantastic product. So be sure to try it out. And Brent, I just want to thank you once again for coming on to share your story.
Thank you very much for having me.